Hello everyone, this is David. I'm doing the Metal Tag 2001 created by Rock Scout here. I think that's Rock Scout. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I forget people's names and stuff like that. So, Metal Tag 2001. I tried to keep this as metal as... Well, I grabbed everything from the metal section in my CDs, and there's only one thing that's non-metal, and that's the Grail at the end. So without further ado, the first question was metal that is spoiled by vocals, and this is the band Ghost Bath. They are a black metal band, and surely they are spoiled by vocals. I wanted this to be like big and in the front like it used to be. The thing with this band is the vocalist seems more like another instrument, kind of like Celestial Season, where they were a doom metal band from the 90s, and but it's just kind of there, and he's just screaming all the time, and it's really not, to me, adding anything, but the music is so good that it was worth me getting. I think I paid $5 for it, so it's not a big deal. The artwork is beautiful. I love this cover, but yeah, vocals not so great. An album marred by production or let down by bad production. Primordial's Gathering Wilderness. Let me see if you can see the cover better like that. Yeah. This was produced by Billy Anderson, and along with every Billy Anderson thing, I think all his production is too muddy. The next album, I wish this album had the production of the next album. I'm gonna move back here so we're not quite right underneath the silly light bulb. Let me see if I can, yeah, we'll still be under it. So, a band that suffers from a weak member. I think Forbidden's bass player was the weakest link in this band, and he probably would agree with me. But I, imagine this band with someone like Steve from Steve DiGiorio, or let's see, who else would have been a great... Troy Gregory would have been awesome in Forbidden. He was amazing in Flotsam and Jetsam. But yeah, I mean, their bass player did what he had to do. It's not the greatest bass playing, but it served its purpose, but it could have been so much better. Let's see, an album that defines heavy for me, Through Silver and Blood by Neurosis. Just crushingly heavy. Just listen to it. It's fucking amazing. A album recommended to me by the music community. I heard people talk about Sabotage so much that when I found a few of them used, my curiosity had been piqued. I already had all their stuff through Hall of the Mountain King, but people were talking about Streets and Gutter Ballet and some of the other ones that I decided, okay, I'm going to give them a shot, and I was pleasantly surprised. An album that, an album that takes my musical taste in a different direction. That would have to be, sorry, I have this in a plastic bag. That would have to be NASM, the Grind Finale, because this is the only band whose discography I have everything of, but they're the only grindcore band that I have. I don't have Napalm Death, I don't have Terrorizer, I don't have Burzum or anybody else. Just NASM. For some reason, I love NASM. A album that takes me in a different oh wait, a gem from my collection. Sorry about that. Portal. So this is not only a gem because this is the tour edition that was very limited, but it is also one that I never see anybody talk about. And it's not very metal, but it's the members of Cynic's band that they did after Cynic kind of folded in the 90s. I love how the blue makes everything really orange. Look at that. That's crazy. A band in your collection that formed closest to home. Well, that would have to be a local band called Cold Colors. This is my friend Brian Hubner's band. I recorded drums on, I think, 2 albums. Honestly, I think they got progressively better. I think this is probably one of the weaker albums, even though I played on it. This is called Somnium 13, and just so you can see, that's me with long hair. This was recorded in 1998 or 99 or something like that. There's Brian. There's my friend Jeff and my friend Nick. I mean, it's a decent album, but I think it's marred by kind of weaker production. There I am again. There's Brian. I believe I took all these photos, yeah. And I did the album cover also. I didn't do the design, but I took the photo that's on there. That's my friend Kelly, who I worked with. So, Cold Colors. This was on the Root of All Evil records, and if anybody is from Minneapolis, there was a guy named Earl Root who had Root Cellar Records, mainly a lot of metal and a bunch of vinyl before vinyl was cool again. After they did this, I want to say they did this album, which is A Burden of Hope. This is kind of when they were trying to be like kind of more of an Anathema type band. I love this cover. I think it's fantastic. I think it was done by Travis Smith. Again, band photos taken by me. There's my friend Glenn, who I do other music with. But at this point, you had Glenn, John, Joe, Paul, and Brian in the band. And I took all these band photos. Glenn looks like such the heavy metal guy right here. And of course, somebody's got to always wear a hat, you know. This was called The Burden of Hope. And then I believe there was this EP. Again, another photo that I took of my friend Kelly from the first cover. This is around the same time. I have a huge version of that, and then a picture of her standing, walking on waters. Then I did the drums on this one. I foolishly decided it was smart to use just my snare and my pedals, and that was it. I used all the other stuff were from the studio, but they weren't really tuning as well as I wanted, so me being lazy kind of screwed, you know, what I think could have been a decent drum sound. I'm not really happy about the drum sound on this, and I really didn't have a lot of time to prepare on the drums for that. Then they did this one called The Great Depression, which is more in line with what I thought they always should have kind of been like, more of a heavy Moonspell sound. And then the last one before Brian moved to, I think, Colorado, is Northernmost, which is actually really, really damn good. It reminds me a lot of what I like about Moonspell. So, yeah. It took a few albums for, I think, for him to find the sound that he was going for. But, yeah, this is pretty decent. Cold Color Northernmost. And I had nothing to do with this album, nor did I have anything to do with the Great Depression. I almost had the album cover, but whatever label this is on, Sleazy Rider, they wanted to go with a different artist. And honestly, it just looks like a King Diamond cover to me. But, okay, so that was a lot of information for the band closest to where I live, but I figured I would go with somebody other than Power Mad, finally. A metal album that I reach for melody-wise, I love Third in the Mortal. Man, this thing is scratched up. There we go. Third in the Mortal, Tears Laid in Earth. This thing is fantastic. If you like female singers, and especially if you like those like operatic singers, she is the only operatic-y kind of singer that I actually like. I think all the rest of them kind of suck. Her name is Kari Ruslatten, and this thing is fantastic. Listen to this the song Salva Me if you just want to give it a little bit of a listen. The album I would sell first in my metal collection is this thing, because I already got rid of the Megadeth album that came out around the same time as this, that I thought was absolute horseshit. Which subgenre? Okay, I don't have any of it, so which subgenre would I delete first? Probably deathcore or like the screamo stuff. Like bands like Dillinger Escape Plan. They're fantastic musicians, but that singer sucks. Later on, they had a decent singer, but, you know, by then, I just didn't care. Band or artist you would most like to see an album. Wait. Band or artist you would most like to see an album or reissue from in 2021. That would be Mind Over 4. I'm going to use this as the reissue because this never has been released on CD. I would love an official CD release of it. And which 80s metal act would you love to see a comeback from? The same answer, Mind Over 4. It would be so awesome. I love this band. Show an alternative variation of an album cover. I'm gonna show you. I'm thinking he meant an album cover with multiple ones. I only have the one Forbidden album, and I already showed Forbidden, so I figured I would show Sup. This was the original, the Cube, and this is the reissue. This actually might be the original, and this was the remix version. I'm not sure which one came first, because they have re-released a lot of things. A band that for you defines metal, Overkill. They have never strayed away from what they do, and even when they did just a bit with I Hear Black, that was so, you know, Black Sabbath-y doom metal that it was so awesome anyway. So my most metallic album cover that I have, I could not think of one goddamn album cover to show, and then this kind of slid in front while I was looking through, so that's the closest thing to a metallic cover. An album you disliked at first, but now highly regard, Dark Angel, Leave Scars. I thought this was a clusterfuck of noise. I hated it, and just kept on listening through it for some reason, and it started growing on me, and now I love it. I think it's fantastic. Sure, the production's a little muddy. This one could also be in that muddy, production is ruined by this thing, but yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty fantastic album. Album you liked at first, but now kind of disregard. That's Master of Puppets. I listened to it recently, and I was bored to tears. More so Ride the Lightning, but I used to think this was great. I was never a fan of Ride the Lightning. I'm even more bored by Ride the Lightning. But Master of Puppets, I just listened to it. I'm like, I don't care. A metal band that deserves more recognition, Confessor. Tell me another band that sounds like Confessor. You cannot. It's fucking impossible. And that singer is awesome. I hope they do another album, and I hope they go more back towards what this was. Their second album wasn't that great. It was good, but it wasn't that great. And then, I'm not going to grab them. My number one Grail for 2021 would have to be, there's a 10-disc ZZ Top box set of the first 10 albums. I think it goes all the way through Afterburner. That has the original mixes before they went back and remixed the drums and added stupid reverb on them. And I know everybody complains. I have those. It doesn't bother me so much, but I would really like that box set. But it's pretty expensive, so otherwise, every Grail that I've wanted lately, I've ended up picking up. It's actually to the point where I'm looking for new music to get into. All right, that was the Metal Tag 2021. Have a good one.